Hello everyone, you welcome to this edition of The Inside on Equinoxe Television. I am Babli Jonathan. In today's edition of the program, we're going to be discussing some recent issues concerning the close to 5-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. The Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, goes to the northwest region for a second time to discuss with stakeholders in the northwest region, political, civil society, religious, traditional authorities, in view of finding a lasting solution to the crisis. And among the persons who met the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, is the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front. Social Democratic Front's political party is one of the political parties that have stood the test of time and that have been standing out to speak for these issues, speaking for peace and normalcy to return in these two regions and for the problems highlighted by inhabitants of those two regions to be solved. And of course, we're going to be receiving the national chairman of that party, mid-August, in some few seconds. Our guest today, Nijan Fundi, chairman of the Social Democratic Front, one of the most influential politicians in the Republic of Cameroon. Mr. Chairman, you're welcome.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
You met with the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, and you followed up happenings for the past 3 days of his visit here in the northwest region of the country. What do you think about these or the dimension of efforts of the government to resolve the crisis?
I think the Prime Minister came to expatiate and explain to the people what the government has done so far, what they're still doing, and what they'll do. I came as a witness. I didn't come to talk. I didn't come because from 1990, the SDF had made so many proposals to government. And even before the beginning of this crisis, we made proposals. We talked to government. So if I'm coming to a meeting like this, it's not for me to take the floor again, start telling the Prime Minister, you see this wrong here, that is wrong there. I mean, I'll be deceiving myself because we'll make the issues in Cameroon that we are in a sort of a talking forum. Let them talk, and they're talking. I came because of the SDF's resolve that we believe in dialogue. We prefer dialogue. And the Prime Minister went to the southwest to dialogue with the people. He's coming here to dialogue. Let me come see here and have my own opinion of what he is doing. Otherwise, there's nothing new that we can sit down and be telling the Prime Minister, oh, you see, you can do this, you can do this. I mean, if he's Prime Minister, head of government, and the intelligent man I know him to be, he knows all that the people of the Northwest need to tell him. And I discussed with him before, discussed with the head of state before, told them. And the SDF had written many, sent to them many documentations on our stance on certain things. And when we say this is our stance here, they say, let us talk. We keep talking. Because in your stand, okay, will you accept it this way? Should we go this way? You say, no, all right, let us try it and see. They go try, it doesn't work. And that's why we keep talking out to where we are today.
The visit of the PM to the northwest region is, of course, another step that's been taken towards restoring peace and normalcy. This step, is it taking us to that so much desired peace and normalcy?
He came to explain what the government had done. He talked about the grand national dialogue. He talked about the teachers' problems. He talked about what they've struggled to do for the lawyers, for the teachers, etc., etc. And these things came before. And if they were done the way the teachers and the lawyers requested, maybe they could solve the situation. But now, waited until when things have gotten out of hand. These boys who don't understand what is going on have come out to take guns. And they're taking guns, they are sort of intoxicating themselves with so many things that should influence them, do this, do that. This is where we found ourselves. And from the onset, the SDF said, Cameroon has a long borders with Nigeria that had gone through wars, things coming in from Chad, from Central Africa, from even Libya right here. We wanted to avoid this, but the government didn't listen much to us. But we will not sit here and be crying that the government did not listen to us. That's why I'm here. That if it's a matter of dialogue, the SDF is for dialogue. I should be there, I should hear, and I came with my team. This team had been working, sending things to the central administration for a long, long time. I wish that they sit down and try to implement some of the things and not for us to be talking, running up and down again. I appreciate the Prime Minister's visit to the Northwest. He articulated his points very well, tried to explain what the National Dialogue has done, the special status, the this and that. He did that, and his ministers, Mbayo came out, talked very, actually, Kilo talked very well, and Donatus Njong tried to explain what his committee has been doing. All those things were explained to the people, to their understanding. But I'm just one person out of the so many. And I do hope that with this, the people will sit back to then see where we go from here.
One of the things that came out of the different meetings that the PM had with almost all the delegations from the 7 divisions of the Northwest region is the Prime Minister's call on the elite to go to the grassroots, meet the people, talk to the people, talk to the young people in particular who have carried guns and who are in the bushes. Can this produce any solution?
I do not see any elite that will want to endanger his life. If the boys from the bushes came and abducted me here, dragged me from this parlor throughout, abducted Cardinal Tumi, the forum, saw archbishops, bishops, etc., men of God, people of good standing in society. Now, and the elites say they are going. The elites came here because the Prime Minister was here. And I came here to be a witness to what was going on. And I'm coming to the Northwest after almost a year and a fraction. Though I'll be coming again before this year runs out. But these elites, if they come to go to the field, they're not protected. I remember when we were going in for the elections, people said we should not go, there was no protection. We insisted that we should go. The governor assured us that they were going to give us the military protection. People came out here, they gave to Mbandam alone. But before late Mbandam got to Batibo, you know what happened? The explosion on the road, and that was the end of things. And with the attack on Bandam and other SDF and on my own person, it seems as if the Anglophone struggle is geared towards the SDF. Because when we were coming out here, people sent, messages went viral on the social media. They should shoot from this helicopter, they should make sure that he goes, he's with his son, he was this and that. What have I gotten to do in the struggle with my son? I'm but one person with my party. They wanted the SDF to leave parliament. We didn't leave because we believed in dialogue on the floor of parliament, wherever there's an opening. And today, most of them said, oh, you see, Joe Weber talked very well. Joe Weber had to talk on the floor of parliament. And so we believe from talking from within, not from without. And today, if the accusations and the insults are all on the SDF, how many people are we in parliament? How many people are we in Senate? How many people are we in the councils? But it's still Frundi. It's Frundi.
It's Frundi, probably because you have taken a stand that is in sharp contradiction to those who are in the bushes. They are asking for secession, independence, or nothing else. But the chairman says, no, this is not the way to go.
Right.
Let's go for federalism.
Yes. That's where we started from 1990. And we opened the door for dialogue. And when this thing started, I had no members of the armed forces here to protect me. I left the doors open, that anybody who has anything to discuss with me should feel free to come in. But they took that opening to come abduct me and drag me like a useless person, and Cardinal Toomey and the rest. You see, this is painful. If I'm in Yaoundé today because I'm sick, the illness started from when I was abducted. And I do not think that for you to bring forward your point, you have to kill, you have to fight, you have to do what? The SDF believed in dialogue. And it's the SCNC that said that we believe in the force of argument and not the argument of force. And when they change from this argument of force to the argument of guns, and people just see it somewhere, give instructions, this is what I can't reconcile myself with. I believe in fighting from within. And that's why we're struggling. Even with one person in parliament, we'll still be arguing, we'll still be talking. And we had just 5 parliamentarians, and we're able to hold parliament hostage. So, and when we held them like that, we are discussing. If out of 100 things they give you 1, take that, put in the back, and continue. We will not say that until you agree in toto with what we want. We cannot shake from here.
We're going to talk a little more about that, Chairman, in a short while. But I listened to some indigenes of the Northwest region who were expressing some anger, saying that while the PM is there brandishing the message of peace, calling for peace, there are houses that are being burnt in the Wu division, and he described some elites of the Northwest region, including the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Minister Tanganji Paul and others, and even the Prime Minister, as hypocrites.
Well, I agree that we are hypocrites. And if he's come to do something better to stop that, I'll be a very happy person.
Chairman, we're going to take a look at what the newspapers reported this week. The president by Mark Lithuania.
The Sun says Prime Minister Chief Joseph John Gute in Bamenda cheers to gunshots in the mix. As reported by the Garden Post, despite skirmishes at Matasm, enthusiastic crowd gives Prime Minister Chief Joseph John Gute a heroic welcome in Bamenda. The Post questions what went wrong and what has not been righted, citing the teachers' and lawyers' grievances. Another edition of the Garden Post says efforts to resolve the Anglophone crisis. Government releases compendium of concessions made so far. The Voice. 2 years since the holding of the major national dialogue, impact still sought after. Municipal updates. At rally in Bamenda, Prime Minister Chief Joseph John Gute assures Northwest population peace is possible. As reported by the Post Weekender, PM hints the continuation of work on the Bamenda-Babaju Road may begin in weeks. The Garden Post exclaims at PM's peace rally in Bamenda, dreaded separatist general and 12 fighters publicly surrender, handing over weapons. According to the Eden newspaper, controversy rocks CPD and Meme 1 as City Mayor Mewanu and Honorable Tabot claim victory at section election.
All right, Chairman, thank you for staying with us. Tell us more about what you were saying earlier. You were saying that people should not remain static. They should not remain on the same position. The Prime Minister was saying that government has moved a good distance, but on the other side, there is no movement. That's the center towards a point of compromise.
That's where the difference is. When the SDF started, we condemned the electoral code and condemned so many things. They came with an electoral code, which we told them that was fluid. They said, okay, come, let us try this. We tried, and if we have a semblance of an electoral code or the electoral system in this country to be where it is because, and thanks to the SDF, that when you do this, we'll go prove you that you are wrong. This is what we're telling you. Unless you prove that the person is wrong, you cannot raise an argument. You don't stand from outside to say that, no, what you're talking in that house is wrong. Come show them where it's wrong. But today in our country, you go in to show where it's wrong, they say, oh, they've taken money. Everything is now built on money, which is not the stance of the SDF. I want to congratulate the SDF and the forces that have given us their support to push things up to where we are today. If people are fighting for their secession, it is not necessary that you bring a gun and you push everybody to support that. In the SDF, we never brought guns or used force for people to support the ideologies of the SDF. They were there, written, explained, people read them, understood, and they came to support us. And that's where we are. And if people still think that, oh no, you could have done it this way, you could have done it that way. Let me take you to the football field. When somebody misses a goal, you see that man, you could have just pushed the ball in like this. You could have just done this. But when you send them in, they run around the field, they will not even see the ball. So it's good for us to take time. And look, we are talking about human nature. We are talking about people's lives. And when we are talking about people's lives, we have to be careful, because you should handle the people's lives better than you'll handle an egg. Because if I handle you, otherwise you fall down now and you collapse, that's all. An egg, a chicken can still lay another egg, whether it hatches a cock or hen. I mean, that's something different. But I cannot replicate Babila to have another Babila if I don't handle you well and you leave and you are no more. So this is what we are saying, that we should sit down. We are talking about human nature. How do we get on? We'll listen to them, take a bit. Listen to this side, take a bit, bring together. If it works, okay, we might move from 1 to 2. But we have 10 steps ahead of us. And as things go on, we'll be moving bit by bit.
We'll be moving bit by bit towards the center. Can we do that with the special status?
Well, I'm not in the special status. It's been given. The people are there. Let us see the results that will come out. You see, the SDF believes that when you give, they take, and it's the results that will make us say that this thing has gone well. It's not just the stages. Oh, yeah, we've applauded it. But can we see the results?
We're going to take interviews of the week right now.
As we spin around the town, you can see that, in fact, I, talking like a taximan, if you can be walking, let's say, for 30 days, how many days will you take the car to the garage? Look, this is a new car I've just bought. It's not even up to 1 year. Look how it has already depreciated. Shocks absorbers, they are all damaged. After 2 weeks, you must change tire. After 2 weeks, you must change tire. In fact, you just look at the road situation. If you are the one, can you cope in this situation? But yet the government is on our neck. Policemen harassing us, pay car documents. They don't even know that we are in a crisis situation. But every day they're on our neck. You see, they even go around anything you want to sell, even along the road. Police, they will not allow you. In fact, the road network, that is, if the government don't do something, in fact, we can no longer bear it.
When road is fine, you easily take from Bamenda to Babaj. You take 1 hour from Bamenda to Babaj. But now, you take at least 2 hours, 30 minutes. If you want to check the transport, this road, That 2,000 didn't help for anything because document for motor will pay, and then the road will take a motor this boy go garage, all those things. We just help people and help them. Motor all time na garage. You walk quite alright, but no fix any better thing because even your health, your waist pain, everything, all side they are saying hot and motor no they fine. Come back go only garage. We just come on and say we don't get choice. Man no be sure our house die hungry because the one will not get the back up. We just want anything happen for you.
If there's no peace, look at the Babaju Bamenda stretch of roads, which was given out to suggest Saturn. They couldn't do it. But we have managed, and I can tell you today that road is going to start because the World Bank has uplifted the ban they put on the construction of that road. So 3 national companies by indigenes of the Northwest are going to do in 3 different stretches the road.
Immediately I go back for Yaoundé. I convene the 3 companies where they get for do the Babaju Bamenda road. They start work immediately because the people where they finance that road, World Bank, they be put ban, say because of certain conditions, make that work no start. But just a few days ago, they don't remove that ban, so work will start this month in Babaju Bamenda Road.
Yeah, I will talk with Una. If man get problem, he will bring the problem, we will hear the problem. Don't be so. Not so. But problem, they go be for well. Every place get problem. But if you don't get peace, you don't feel resolve any problem. Don't be so. Not so. So we want to say, even if any problem is still there, even if person they get any grievance, we solve these problems peacefully. We don't tire for bury, we begin them. Don't be so. Not so. We don't tire. We don't really live with villages. We don't go other side to go seek refuge. You don't find so. One many people they come back from Amenda. Many people they come back from Northwest. Not so. Not so. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the reception.
The PM asked us to go back to the field and to tell our brothers and sisters that we are sorry. We are sincerely sorry for whatever has happened. Lives have been lost. Those lives cannot be gotten back. But the only thing we can do is that we have to face the reality. Tell our brothers and sisters, they are our brothers and sisters. We are sorry for what has happened. Please, drop your guns. Come out. Let us begin to rebuild our country while solving our problems. Because we cannot stagnate because we have problems. We are solving problems today and creating problems for tomorrow's generation. So there is no need, there's no reason for us to be killing ourselves. So we really want to seize this opportunity to appreciate the frank talk that we had with the Prime Minister, head of government, who has said that there is no need to be beating about the bush. Certain concerns were really, really genuine. And some people, out of anger, out of frustration, and out of hope for something better, decided to take up arms. It is now our duty to go back to them and tell them, look, dear brothers and sisters, we are sorry for what happened. Please, the young ones, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years, your place is not in the bush.
He has reiterated the fact that Bui has become the epicenter of the crisis, which is not fair to us, and that as elites, we should be able to talk to these children because the children are ours. We don't expect anybody else to come and talk to our children. We know them. And he just, reiterated some of the points that we have been making, that we needed to be truthful and frank to these young people. We need to tell them the truth. They will never have a southern Cameroon. Never. So the sooner they understand that the government has given us regional assemblies, which within that, the special status as well, that we can use to reinforce our region, to do the things that we would love to have in our region. We should take that and run with it instead of staying away in the bushes.
The Prime Minister came to thank us for what we have been to make Dongama to an exception. We tried to explain to him the type of dispositions we took from the start of this crisis to make this exception. And Despite this, we are going through a lot. We can't reach Bamenda. It takes 3 days to reach here because we can't pass through the neighboring divisions that you know. So we did ask that these conditions be alleviated by the road that passes through the west. By the way, it's good and correct that a region should not just have one access road out of it. So the Prime Minister took it on board. And just to let you know that we're paying a big price. For almost 1 year, we have no electricity in Dongamanto. We laid out all these points, and we asked that the ring road, for which we already have financing from the African Development Bank, be started. This is going to give hope. Many people will return to the region, and it will not only be for Dongamanto, it will be for the whole region. And we also stretch it that the 2 axes which have been approved, Kumbo, Ndu, Kambe, Misaje, and then Misaje, Nigerian frontier, will come to give a new sense of economic power to the whole region as a whole. The PM was very positive, and he said something that was very interesting, that we share a lot in common with his own Jan as a border division, the challenges, the cuts, and he said he's taking on board and that Dongamanton deserves for their problems to be looked to, knowing what they have gone through.
It's unfortunate that Momo division is where it is because a majority of those sponsoring the crisis out of the country and within the country are from Momo division. And it's a pity that most of the destruction, children not going to school, hospitals not even operating, every economic activity dead is Momo division. We're so worried, and we have to express to the Prime Minister the worries of the Momo people and proposing some solutions on how this can be managed to talk to, because they are our brothers in the bushes. And I do think that we have to put up a mechanism on how to talk to them, on how to pull them from the bushes, and also to make sure we implicate the same diaspora that are our own brothers to tune down their activities that are creating us a lot of terror back home. Also, we do believe that maybe we, the elites, have not done enough in handling the situation in our backyards. It's the right time, we think, that everybody should be implicated. We have elites in strategic positions everywhere in this country, whom, if we sit together and say, let's handle this thing in our backyard, definitely will approach peace sooner or later. And with all of this, the PM said, well, we have to look into those strategies and see how the forces, all the forces, the living forces of Momo division can plan and strategize together. We have to continue with the message of the Prime Minister that he delivered to the people of the region, and make sure this message goes down to the suburbs, and also talking even to the people that we feel we cannot talk to them. It is not impossible not to talk to them, because they are our sons that are in the bushes. And I think that it's time for us to make our sons understand that for 5 years it has been going. And what they started, or maybe were misled to get themselves engaged in, is not realizing, is not yielding any fruit.
It's been a huge success that he's explained all the things that government has done. And for the boys to come out of the bush, I think that's a huge success on his part.
When people they talk say government begins the military solution, no, government don't always want a dialogue.
Na lie we pa lie, you say una special. So it is called na una say me una bring that una special for table.
We want to give another explanation and dimension for this special status, for put them into simple, concrete form. Now government away for Greece say yes, northwest and southwest they get special vex. And so it don't go ahead for bring solution for this special vex.
All the phases of the presidential plan are implemented simultaneously.
We submitted a memorandum, and the memorandum has been written by all of us, in which we propose means which we can cooperate together with the government and see that peace returns to Momo division in particular and to the Northwest at large, in such a way that if we actually do what we have written to the Prime Minister and the government accompanies us, gradually we'll get these boys out of the bushes. We are hoping, as the Prime Minister has promised us, that he will come to Momo division, but then it's given us a big challenge. Go ahead and let peace return to Momo so that I can come there peacefully.
Came up with a plan of peace, stabilization and security, which actually I made it forwarded to the head of government and Prime Minister, amongst other administrative authorities, to see how we can combat peace and stability to regain the two regions, Northwest and Southwest. If they take some of the factors into consideration, or many of the factors, the economic of Northwest and Southwest will gain back to normalcy. I'm talking as an economic operator. I've been on the media several times requesting for an inclusive, genuine dialogue, which today many stakeholders actually longing for an inclusive, genuine dialogue, which I think the head of government, Prime Minister John Gute, on his tour in the two regions have understood, and it's been very, very comprehensive to bring all the stakeholders on the platform to listen and get solutions, which actually that is what is transpiring today.
Well, the PM came here to assure us that the decentralization is working, and I am a product of one of them, the decentralization. We have the regional council, you have the independent, public independent conciliator, and he also came here to let us know that most of the grievances that we had have been accomplished. And then he begged that we should go back to work and preach peace. This is what we have been doing all these days. I'm the pioneer public independent conciliator, which means that I have no notes to copy from anybody. So we have to create from scratch, and we have been creating from scratch. We have been able to look for and find an office space. We have been able to draw up a communication strategy. We have brochures which we have made. We have flyers, and then we have talked to all the stakeholders. What we are waiting for is the official launching of our activities.
There are no new proposals that have not been given to the Prime Minister before, because almost everything that came back today, we had received it before. What actually caught my attention is not the fact that they gave him proposals, was the fact that the people of the Northwest, and precisely of Mizam, from where I come from and the delegation from which I was received with, actually showed the Prime Minister we are ready for peace and we actually want to make a difference. But we will need the administration to see into it that some unnecessary reactions that come from administration should be limited. For example, considering a situation where you could communicate to want to talk to somebody who is in the bush, before, if you speak to somebody who is out there in the bush, and you might be considered as their sponsor or one of them. But the Prime Minister made it clean and plain to us today that it is even necessary for us to increase the dialogue with them. That is the only way to get them out, communicate with them. And I think that was a step which actually provoked my thinking. And so what we have as a problem now is the strategy, not the intention. The the Prime Minister also made it plain to us that there are some options that are not on the table. Options that many people actually want that should be spoken of. And those options, some people believe they want secession. They said that is not an option. Two-state federation, that is not an option. So it is necessary that our people should know exactly what the government has in mind concerning where we are going to.
What we can take home is that there is a lot of progress. Since the grievances started, the government has not sat on its laurels. The head of state went out to say they want to go an extra mile. And we've seen all what has happened, all the grievances of the teachers, all the grievances of the lawyers, and they've gone beyond what they had. So what we should do is we should be conscious of what the government has given us. The special status gives a special identity to the Northwest and the Southwest in terms of the educational system, in terms of the legal system, in terms of our developmental objectives, in terms of the chieftaincy, in terms of even impeachment for those who don't toe the line, and of course the bicameral system that we have, the regional house and the House of Chiefs.
We have just one point. How do we bring about peace in our region here in the Northwest? And the clear point is, we are all in need of peace. All of us, we need it. That is the bottom line. And therefore, if all of us need it, all of us got to work for it. And this can only go when we have a complete and a total change of our mentality, our approach. And referring to scripture in my address yesterday, I referred to the people who go around murdering. That there is a curse attached to it from scripture. And the curse attached to people who murder their brothers and sisters is the curse of fugitive, vagabond. So I appeal to them that this curse should not be upon this land. I took it from scripture in the book of Genesis chapter number 4, and it was said that Cain was cursed with a curse, and he became a fugitive in all the land. He could not find favor with men. So I am appealing to all the young people that this should not be their portion in this land. They should desist from this act, and that they may live a peaceful and favorable life.
We have proposals of, getting the traditional rulers at the center of the research for solution to this problem. One thing which we must know is, traditional rulers are at the base. Before all the other authorities came, traditional rulers, the traditional institutions were there. The religious authorities, administrative authorities, they came but after that the traditional rulers had been installed already with their population. So I think the involvement of traditional rulers in the research of a solution to this crisis would be a very good thing, and it go a long way to resolve the problem effectively. I mean effective involvement of traditional rulers. Consultations is not involvement. When you do consultations, you can consult everybody. But in the research of the solution, it's not everybody that was consulted that get involved effectively in the research for solution.
We have discussed a lot of things with the Prime Minister, head of government, concerning peace of the Northwest and Southwest region. And as peace-loving people of Donga Mountain Division, we had the exemplary presentations that we gave to the PM so that they can extend it to other divisions to embrace the method that we have used in Donga Mountain to maintain peace in our division. And most often we talked about the ring road that has been a problem to the people of Donga Mountain and Northwest as whole, and the border between Cameroon and Nigeria that we need intensive security, electricity that we don't have for about 2 years today in Donga Mountain. We have presented such issues. And we have talked about reclassification of traditional rulers also, because Donga Mountain is a very large division with no first-class traditional ruler. Meanwhile, we have very exemplary traditional rulers that has been serving the nation very well. That needs to be preserved as an example to other traditional rulers to emulate.
We have a very defined domain in which we integrate or in which we intervene. We work with the regional council. We work with the other local councils. Regional council and local councils are service providers. And then we make sure that the services provided are acceptable and satisfactory to the service users, who are the population. So we are there for the population. and to make sure that they are well served in a very professional manner. The Public Independent Conciliator is actually independent in the sense that he receives no instructions from anybody. He gives no instructions to anybody. He works with his conscience, and then he does the work. But he can receive advice, which he will filter and accept and apply, but no instructions from anybody. That is where the independence comes in.
With me here is Njoya Dalatu. He's a teacher in charge of communication at the palace of the Bamun Sultans. And of course, he's going to be explaining some traditional issues to us concerning this ceremony here today. You're welcome, Njoya.
Thank you very much.
What are the memories that you hold of the departed traditional leader?
We hold great memories of a person who gifted so much to promote the Bamon culture above Cameroon borders and far even in the world. You know, he was a great person, and he did great things for the Bamon people. And I mean, trying to find adjectives to describe them could just maybe lower the quality and the greatness of the things this man did for us.
His departure is a great loss.
Actually, a very great loss. And we hope and we look forward to see the coming of a new sultan who we hope will take the challenges that the late sultan left behind him. You know, nobody can be perfect, so he left some few challenges, and we hope that the forthcoming sultan will help take us forward for a new page.
Now tell us what happens after the disappearance of the king.
Exactly, you did well to use the word disappearance, because as far as the king or the sultan is concerned, we do not use words like die or death. You know, here we say the king has disappeared, and when the king disappears, we need to wait for the official announcement that is done by a reserved group of 33 Nkums. That's the name given to them, and once notables exactly. And when this announcement is done, there are some rites of some ceremonies or rituals of appeasement that are carried out, because it is believed that when the king passes away, there might be some effects of his going on his people. So some traditional rituals are carried on, and in the intention of protecting the people according to Bamon's beliefs.
Right. The traditional rituals include the wearing of some particular issues like rings or something like that?
Exactly. To start with, the people eat a certain concoction, which we call in the Bamon language mbwer. And later on, Bamun, the general Bamon people have to wear a special type of bangle on their feet, I mean on their wrist. And for the princes and princesses, they wear these bangles rather on their ankles. And this is done in a way to, as I said, protect the people from the effects of the going away of the sultan.
And apart from that, there are also some behavioral patterns that are adopted by the people after the passing away of the king.
Exactly. One of the most famous of them is the banning of wearing of caps. You will realize that Bamuns are actually having their heads free simply because it is completely banned to wear a cap right now. There is also the restriction from going out in the night at certain moments of the night. There are other restrictions on carrying out any happy event in the land. So at this moment, all happy events in the lands are restricted for a period of time before they can carry on.
Right. After the official announcement by the traditional council, then comes the funeral ceremony, and that is why we are here today on the Ngun side. Tell us about this day, this ceremony.
Actually, Today we will be assisting, we will be witnessing a ceremony without corpse, because according to the Bamun tradition, we do not expose the corpse of the Sultan. So here we will witness a certain type of official ceremony, because the restricted traditional ceremony is done at the palace, away from general or ordinary eyes, and certain rituals are done there that we are not given the ability to disclose to the general public.
What's going to happen here today as soon as the Prime Minister takes his seat?
Actually, as the Prime Minister takes the seat, one of the main notables out of the 33 will take a lead in, during which he will give a sort of introduction to all what will be happening here. It will be a traditional ceremony that normally had to take place at the royal courtyard, but it will be deported here. The intention of doing this lead in, this introduction that will be done by the notable, is to bring in some sort of appeasement again, according to the Bamun traditional beliefs. You know, the passing away of a king of such a magnitude brings some sort of repercussions on the people, and what he will be doing here will have the intention of appeasing.
All right. And tomorrow, Sunday, a new king will be coronated. Can you give us some details on the coronation process and, of course, the selection process of the new king?
Actually, as far as the selection process is concerned, the rituals are very, very restrictive. The process is done in a great secrecy. Generally, it is believed that the forthcoming sultan will be cut today. That's the term. In Bamun we say inve. He will be cut tonight, and certain rituals will be performed on him. It's only tomorrow that the general public will have the opportunity to know who will be the next sultan in the land.
Who has the choice, the reigning king or the traditional council, as far as the choice of the new king is concerned?
It is believed that the council of the Nkom takes into consideration the words or the choice of the late king, and when this is done, the late king chooses a person and informs a restricted number of persons in the Nkom council who are aware of the person, of the identity of the next king. So at this moment, a reserved number of Nkom, at the number of 7, are already ready to perform this task. They will be accompanied in this task by a person we call Denji Fonfon. Denji Fonfon is the Prime Minister of the land, and he will assist them with another restricted number of notables to perform this act that is done in a top secrecy.
Thank you very much, Njoya Dalatu. You are a teacher in charge of communication at the palace of the Bamun dynasty here in Fumban. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Mr. Chairman, we are rounding up with this edition of The Inside. Your children listening to you now. Some are in the bushes, some are not in the bushes, some are elsewhere, out of the country, everywhere around the world. What is that thing that you will ask them to do now at this point in time?
I told the Prime Minister that we want this war to come to an end. It should be stopped. Because the boys fighting in the bushes, people say now we're not picking now. But the boys in the forces are from those boys in the bushes that when you leave the town and you wear the uniform, you are now a different person, but they're the same persons. So I told the Prime Minister a story of where they said some widow got married to a widower. The widow came with her own children, the widower had his own children. And one time, and for some unexplained reason, these children were boxing and hitting themselves in the house. And because the fighting was so furious, the woman had to call the husband, say, darling, darling, say, yes. He said, your children and my children are fighting our children. So the children in the bushes and the soldiers that are fighting, they are our children. And they're fighting amongst themselves. And when this woman called the husband, is he with the power who came and put a stop. And so we are calling on Mr. Biya to put a stop to this fighting. Let us reconcile ourselves and see how we get on from here.
What did the Prime Minister respond to what you just said now?
I think you'll ask him whether he heard this and how he interpreted it. And it's the results, because it's after all this that the results of whatever he said here to this, to that will be coming out.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thanks a lot. I came as a witness, I came as a viewer, I didn't come as a participant. I just wanted to see what was happening, so that tomorrow when I'm coming out my own part of the argument, I should say, this is what I saw. I came, I saw, I have my feelings, and we'll get on. Thank you for pushing this interview through. I appreciate what your program and Equinoxe televisions are doing to educate and let people know what is happening. But if this interview is rushed and not explicit to the point, you pardon me, is because of the constraint of time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
The National Chairman of the Social Democratic Front, SDF political party, John Fundi, talking to us there.